stop scrolling. I want you to really sit with this for a second. Right now, there's a $350 billion company bigger than Goldman Sachs, bigger than Boeing, bigger than half the S&P 500 that the average American cannot own a single share of. When that changes, and it will change, most people are going to rush in at the IPO, ride a 30% pop, hold through a 50% crash, and break even 2 years later completely confused about what went wrong. A small group of people is going to make a fortune before SpaceX even rings the opening bell. The difference between those two groups is one idea. I'm giving you that idea right now. My name is Moon. I track where money moves before the crowd figures it out, and I mean that literally. I obsess over this. This video is about one thing. SpaceX is about to unlock a $1 trillion flood of capital, and 99% of investors are looking at completely the wrong target. You're not. Not after today. Let's go. You think space is still a sci-fi fantasy? Let me hit you with reality right now. The global space economy is $630 billion today. Morgan Stanley projects $1.8 trillion by 2035. Not a guess government contracts already signed, satellites already ordered, defense budgets already locked in and approved. The United States alone spent $69 billion on space last year. Department of Defense, NASA, no AA. They are writing checks every single day without stopping. And SpaceX, privately valued at $350 billion. Every pension fund, every index fund, every 401k in America is completely, totally locked out. They want in, they can't get in, yet. Now ask yourself what happens the day that lock opens. The largest single-day capital flood in stock market history. Bigger than Saudi Aramco, bigger than Alibaba. Every passive index fund on the planet gets automatically forced to buy it. New institutional money pours in from every direction at once. But, and this is everything, that money doesn't stop at SpaceX. It flows. Here's what nobody's talking about. What does every rocket have inside it? Every satellite, every spacecraft in orbit right now? Chips, semiconductors, thousands of them per vehicle. Not your regular chips, radiation-hardened semiconductors engineered to survive cosmic radiation, 300-degree temperature swings, and the total vacuum of space. These cost 10 to 100 times more than anything inside your laptop or your phone. One Falcon 9 launch, over $4 million in semiconductors per rocket. SpaceX launches roughly every 3 days, and that's $400 million a year in chips from one company, and they are accelerating every single quarter. Add Blue Origin ramping up, add Air Force satellite programs expanding, add Starlink's 6,000 satellite constellation that needs constant refresh and hardware upgrades. Billions of dollars flowing into chip makers right now before any IPO has happened. And you haven't heard a word about it because everyone's distracted by the fire coming out of the engines instead of asking, what does that engine actually need to run? Here's a number that genuinely stopped me cold. Starlink SpaceX's satellite internet business is not a future promise. It's a real operating business, generating serious revenue right now. 2023 Starlink revenue, $6.6 billion, growing over 50% per year. 3 million subscribers today. Total addressable market, hundreds of millions of people globally who have zero other internet option, no cable, no fiber, nothing. Elon has said Starlink alone could be worth more than the rest of SpaceX combined. The plan is to spin it off and IPO it separately. 2 historic IPOs, same company. Every new satellite in that constellation is another semiconductor order. Every new subscriber is another terminal built from chips. The revenue is real, the growth is real, and the chips feeding all of it are already moving. Here's where most people miss the second wave entirely. Next-generation satellites aren't radios in the sky anymore. They are AI computers in orbit. A self-driving satellite can't wait for signals to bounce back to Earth. The signal delay makes real-time decisions impossible. It has to process everything on board in real time, alone in space. That requires GPU-level processing, the same class of chips NVIDIA builds for data centers, now engineered to operate at -200 degrees Celsius in hard vacuum. NVIDIA is already in conversations with aerospace contractors about space-grade AI chips. Not theoretical. Happening now. The U.S. Space Force committed $13.3 billion over 5 years specifically for satellite AI and communications upgrades. The majority of that spend flows directly through chip manufacturers, Everyone keeps asking whether the AI trade is over. Meanwhile, the US government just quietly authorized $13 billion for AI chips in space. Zero headlines covered it. The AI trade didn't end. It just launched. California, 1849. Most of the miners who flooded in came home broke. The gold was real, so was the brutal competition. They overpaid to get there, worked in terrible conditions, and found nothing. You know who actually got rich? The people selling the shovels. Levi Strauss sold the miners jeans and work gear. Samuel Brannan sold them supplies. The people in the supply business made fortunes while the miners gambled everything on a find that never came. SpaceX is the gold rush. Semiconductors are the shovels. And the shovel business is already booming while everyone else is on YouTube watching rocket launches. When SpaceX IPOs, the institutions that were locked out will flood in. The sovereign wealth funds, the pension funds, the endowments, they all want exposure. And for the ones who can't get enough SpaceX directly, they'll do the next best thing, buy the chip companies supplying it. That's proxy investing. And right now, that proxy is massively underpriced because most people are waiting for the obvious move instead of making the smart one. Now, I want to be straight with you because a lot of people are going to get burned on this, and I don't want you to be one of them. When SpaceX or Starlink finally IPOs, if you're a short-term trader, someone looking to ride the hype for a quick pop buying right at the IPO open could absolutely work. The attention will be historic. The first-day surge is real. But if you're a medium or long-term investor building actual wealth over years, here's my honest take. Wait, watch first. These mega IPOs almost always go through violent ups and downs in the months after launch. The retail hype cycle, the lockup period expiring, the short sellers moving in, they all create serious chaos. We watched it happen with Rivian, Coinbase, Uber, all massive names, all brutal post-IPO swings. SpaceX will be bigger than all of them. The volatility will be bigger too. The smarter move for patient investors? Let the storm settle. Let the price find its real footing. Wait for the hype to clear, then enter with conviction, not emotion. The money flowing into the space supply chain doesn't care about IPO day. It's patient. You should be too. Here's the one idea I need burned into your brain. Every dollar that goes up into space eventually comes back down, into chips. The internet fortunes weren't all made at Amazon. The generational wealth was made by people who understood that every website needs servers, every server needs chips, and they owned the invisible infrastructure before anyone was talking about it. Space is the new internet. Chips are the new servers. We are sitting at the same moment as 1997 when the internet was clearly real, clearly massive, and yet most people still hadn't positioned because it all felt just slightly too far ahead. Most people will understand this in 3 years. After the IPO, after the run, after the money already moved, they'll chase the price and wonder why they're always late. You're not late. This video is your window. But it's closing. Every quarter, more institutional money quietly finds this supply chain. Every month, the cost of being early goes up. Subscribe right now. If this shifted the way you think about markets, drop a comment below, let me know what you're watching, and hit the like button. I'll see you there.